Some of you have requested that I make a video on my can rollers that I made. My cabinets are really, my pantry is really deep, and I could not find any that were deep enough to fit a full thing of can rollers without having a bunch of wasted space in the back. So I went ahead and built some, and you've requested a like blueprints on how to make them, but I don't have that, so I'm just gonna pull one out and show you how I made it. Oh my god, it's really stuck. Oh, it's really in there. I hope you guys appreciate this video because I broke it. I'm trying to pull it back out of there and the paint's stuck and pulled the piece of wood off. Anyway, here goes. Okay, so this is the can roller. This is what it looks like pulled out of the pantry. There is the front of it right there. And you can see it's higher on this end than it is on this end on the top. Here's the back of it right here. I chose not to put a back on mine because I knew that it would take up extra space, and I knew that it was going to be pushed up against the wall. So I didn't care about having a back. I wanted the extra space. So that's the end of it. I can't remember why I put that here. Maybe it was just spacing. I don't remember why I put this piece of wood here. Maybe it's to hold it up while I screwed it in. I don't know. But it's been a few years. I did these a few years ago and they're holding up really well. One thing I do wish that I had not done is painted them. We wanted them to look nice in the cabinet. Actually, I didn't really care because they're wood and they're inside of our cabinet, but my husband wanted them painted white to match our cabinet and be pretty. And it makes the cans stick a little bit. It's not as bad as it was before, but you can see where the metal rubs against it. It's deteriorating anyway, so it would have been better if we had left them as wood rather than getting stuck with the cans on the paint, because they rolled a lot better before we painted them. So I would not suggest painting them. I would just leave them the natural wood color and no finish on it, since you're not going to be putting it outside anyway. Anyway, let me get a tape measure and show you what the measurements are. All right, these are my can rollers. I'm going to measure that for you. This one is 23 inches, almost on the dot. It's going to be the same on the bottom because I made it square. From top to bottom, it is 12 inches or 1 foot exactly. Same on this side. So when you're measuring from here to here, just measure from the front of your shelf to the back of your shelf, and that'll tell you how deep you need it to be. And then from the inside, this little lip here, I wish that I had actually made this part a little taller, because some of the cans roll out and over. If it has enough force, it does come out of here. So I probably would have made this like half of an inch taller. Right now, from the bottom of the container to the top of the piece here is 2 inches. I probably would have made this 2.5 inches, but you also have to keep in mind the bottom. Let's see if you can see that. This bottom piece here is raised a little bit as well. So the inside measurement there, it's hard to see. It's probably about 1 inch on the inside. I'd probably do like 1.5 inches right up here. So right now it's about 1 inch from the top to from the top of the bottom piece to the top of that lip there. And then this piece here is short. So it is about 19.5 inches from back to front. And then this piece in the back, this is going to be easier to measure from the back. It's angled. And again, you're going to have to customize this to fit your pantry, but this should at least help get you an idea of what you're looking at. All the way from the end to the side is 22.25 inches. And then from the bottom, this piece of wood looks like a 2x4, so that's probably all that it is. This one is 4 6/8 to the top of this bottom piece, and it does look like it's 3.5 inches. So this does look like a 2x4 here on the bottom. Right here I have 5.25 written here, so that tells me that's probably the width of it, and maybe that's why I did that, because this is exactly 5.25 inches here in between the gap. So I must have measured a can of food to make sure it fit in there perfectly. And the way that I did this is I laid these pieces of wood down flat, and I actually drew a line here showing exactly where I wanted the cans to go, and I set them on top, especially right here. I laid it down flat, and then I put a can. Let's see if I can get an example. It'll probably make more sense. So this can roller is actually for the chunky soups, so this isn't going to be an exact measurement. Let's see if you can see all that. Hey, okay, so this isn't going to be an exact measurement, but I just want you to see what I was doing. And actually, might be able to see here, there's a line drawn here, and I drew a line and then the lines in between. I'll have to get you a close-up of that, but I was able to, this is the back. I just put the can here on top of the line, and then I just kind of moved it all the way around to make sure that no matter where it was, that there was plenty of room. And I just kind of moved it around like that. I double-checked the top to make sure there's a little bit of gap there, and just made sure that it fit perfectly. Now, you don't want to leave too much room in the back. Like, you don't want to be like, oh, I'll just make it a 1.5 or whatever. Then you'll have cans that just get stuck back here, and they'll just go around it, or it'll just get stuck back here and it won't roll properly. So make sure you have enough that it goes exactly one can's length, but not too tight that it gets jammed and not able to roll through here. Do one before you do them all, and make sure you test it out before you move forward. I'm going to get you a close-up of those lines. So here is a close-up of the lines. You can see here there's 2 lines here, and you can see where I nailed in each piece. And you can see the lines here where I drew, maybe you can see those, I don't know, where I drew the outline of the piece of wood of where it's going to go. And then I stopped about here because that's where the can goes. And same thing with this one. Here's the bottom 2 lines. And of course, they've been painted over, so it's hard to see, but there are 2 lines there, and it goes all the way to the bottom of it. And I just kind of mapped it out visually for myself to see exactly where it would look. It's so hard to see. But I just wanted to map it out visually to see exactly where the cans would roll, to make sure it's exactly what I wanted it to be for an angle that would actually roll. But anyway, so that's how I made my can rollers. You can see here the top-down view. This is the back view. Of course, the bottom. I wish I would have just left it that plain wood color. Not all of them are perfect. You can see here there's a gap. No biggie. You can't see from the inside. In the front. So that's what we got. Let me know if you have any questions on the can roller. I always suggest you customizing them, because the stuff you get at the store are for narrow shelves. Unless you have super narrow shelves, you're not going to find one that fits, especially in these older houses. The houses built in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. They have really deep pantries, which are great until you lose all your cans back there and they expire and you find them 5 years later and they're bad. So this is great for rotation. Let me know if you have any questions. My baby is sleeping in the other room, so I'm going to try and put this back in there as quietly as possible. But I'll show you how to install it. Super easy. Just pop it in place and then put the cans in and hopefully be quiet about it. Hey guys, I was cleaning out my garage and putting away some of my wood scraps, and I came across this. Now this has obviously got a little bit of water damage on it, but this looks like it was my original wood project that I used for the wood can rollers, and I ended up not using this one in particular. This one is a little bit thicker, and I think I was trying to get thinner sides, but it does look like I did use this one to make some measurements on there. And right here you can tell it's got some measurements. And I just make notes to myself of the size of it and also like which piece it is so that I can mark it on there. This one is, obviously this is where I'd screw in the top piece, and then it stops right here to let the can through. And I had to put the width there for the can, and added in a little bit of space just to let it roll around easily. And then this is the back of the can roller. So you can see here what it looks like. Now this is at an angle. It doesn't look like much of one, but it is wider here than it is right here. And so when you drop the cans in the top, it does roll down. And you can see that a little bit better. Anyway, this is what I did on the other can rollers, on the actual pieces of wood, just so I could have it marked exactly where I needed it. And I think I even marked it on the back side. I did a measurement this far down, and I did the same thing on this side. I don't want to touch that. That's kind of gross. I'm probably going to throw this piece of wood out, but I just wanted to show you this before I do that. So I measured and I marked on both sides of the piece of wood so that when I nailed it down, I could see exactly where it was on here. So if you're trying to do that, just measure from top to the top of that and measure down on the same side in the back, and make sure you measure in the distance as well. And then you can draw your lines that way. Good luck. And share pictures of your project.